hi, it's Liz here, and I'm back with my Land of Make-Believe altered book. This is a charity shop find. It's a William Morris book. I take some pages out because I'm sticking on extra pages and thickening them up by sticking some together, so I don't want it to get bulky that it won't close. So I do take a few pages out. Every few pages take some out and then stick some together. There is a video explaining the first few steps of me starting this altered book and doing the cover. And yeah, so the pages are coming along. Really like the way the pages are going. That's lovely, isn't it? I do like this. And this little fella here. And yeah. So today I thought, well, let me show you the book first. This is the book that I'm getting the images from. It's Spring Stories and Backgrounds by Maremi's Small Art. And there are other books you can get. There's a whole list. I think maybe at the beginning. Do you know what? I actually used the page that shows you. There was a nice background on the page that shows you all the other books. But you can find Cut and Collage Facebook group and then on all the social medias and YouTube there's lots of tutorials, and I got my book from Amazon. I think all the books are available in Amazon, and I know that there's just 3 brand new ones out on the kind of steampunk industrial type version of them. So anyway, let's go on with what we're going to do today, or what I'm going to do today. So today I opened my book and I had lots of little bits that I had previously just keep at the front there, and I thought, and they fell out actually, and I thought, you know, I would love to have a little place in this book to keep all the bits that I thought maybe I was going to use for some of my pages, and then it turned out that I didn't use them, and so I end up with lots of little bits, and I thought, why not make a cute little envelope to keep my bits in. Now normally I would think ahead and have an envelope here on the inside front cover, but obviously that's already gorgeousified. So why not the back cover inside, which hasn't had anything done to it yet. So an envelope here to keep all my spare little bits that have been kind of loosely cut out and I want to keep safe. So how am I going to keep my envelope steady? By maybe tucking it into a belly band. I hate that word. But a strip of card down the centre so that my envelope with all my bits can slide into it. I thought that's a grand idea. So off I started. I've got my background piece from the collage book. I'm not sticking anything down yet because I want to stitch, because if I'm making a belly band, I want to make sure that it's not just glued down, that it's kind of stitched down, because it's going to get quite a lot of wear and tear with the envelope coming out and in. So we're just going to kind of do it loosely just now before I take it to the machine. So a belly band, and I found this piece of card. It's just a piece of patterned, it's like thick scrapbook paper if you like, and I thought, well, that's ideal. We'll just have the belly band there, and obviously you just attach it at the top and the bottom so that your envelope slides through and keeps it nice and you know, attached to the book. And then I thought, why not have it on another piece of card with a little punched border? And I'll show you the punch I use and how I use it. when we go to do our envelope, because I want to add a little bit of a matching border to the envelope we're going to make for inside. It's actually a Martha Stewart punch. I have had this for such a long time. I've got a collection of punches that I very rarely use, but I thought it was ideal to use it for this. And I thought about having a punched border on either side, but I thought it just looked kind of neat having the one side with a little border and the other side the punched border. And my envelope will go into there. So to decorate my belly band, I've got obviously some cute characters from the book. Using up some of the littler ones. Look at how cute they all are. Oh, and she's pointing to the envelope. She's like, look, your envelope's in there. I got this one as well, but it was just, I think, too small. And I thought maybe I could squeeze in an extra one, but no, then I wasn't too sure that I was overdoing it a bit. So she can be used another day. She'll go in the envelope. So that's the plan for the belly band. And then for my envelope, I've got this piece of scrapbook paper, and I'm just going to kind of make a make-do envelope, just kind of folded up with a little lip down, and use kind of maybe this, and that will just slide in nicely. Whoops! Oh, they're all trying to escape. But that will be step 2. Oh, and we'll put a little border on the lip, on the fold of the envelope. We'll punch a matching border, and I think when the envelope goes in, that'll look nice because it'll match the belly band. Yeah. Oh, and I've inked a little bit. This is Mango chalk ink. A tiny little bit down the edge there, and a tiny little bit. In fact, I've not done her. Just because these little ones are quite the trick to cut out. And so I tend to leave the tiniest little bit of a white border. And this just kind of a wee bit takes away. And I picked this colour because it kind of matches that background. And I'm just gently, not wanting to ink them up as such, just taking away from the whiteness a wee bit. There we are. Good. Right, so what do I want to do? I am not going to stick these chaps and chapesses on for the moment. What I want to do is prepare this for the sewing machine, so I can stick this properly onto that. Of course, you know what you could do? You could have a double layered belly band. If you didn't stick this top bit properly down all the way, you could just stick it along the top and bottom, and you would have a belly band there and then a belly band there. But I don't want to do that because I just want my one envelope. So I'm just going to stick this whole piece down onto that. Just going to use my glue stick. And it's got the tiniest little bit of pattern on it, which I think is quite nice. Let's just get this as straight as we can get it. Some excess glue down there. Right. So that's that, and then that's going on to there. But this time just at the top and the bottom. So just the tiniest little bit, just to hold it in place, because I'm going to be taking it to the sewing machine. So I don't need to have it glued all that well. Now, do we want it in the middle or do we want it slightly? I think we'll want it in the middle, thereabouts. Maybe about there. Because I'm going to stitch all the way round. Now wait a minute, I was going to stitch down, stitch down here and then all the way round, or would that be too much? Do I want it to look nice and clean looking, or do I want black stitch, because I've got black in, which I wanted as a contrast to the white. Do I want black down here? I hardly put any glue on, so it'll come off easy if I decide, because I'm going to be going, do you know what, I don't think I will, because I'm going to be going straight along here, and if I come down here, it's just going to look messy at each corner here. I just want to go round the edge, I think, and then not down the middle. That's fine. Yes, decision made. So, I think what we'll do is, before we go to the sewing machine, is we'll just go round this edge a little bit, just to tie it in a wee bit with the what inking has been done on the belly band. It's not a huge amount, but just enough that we can see that something's going on. It's making it blend in. That's curling up a wee bit. Right, let's just double check before we go to the sewing machine that everything seems fine. Yep, that'll be nicely stitched. Yes, so I'll be back. Okay, so that's the belly band, nice and firm, stitched around. So I think we can go ahead and attach that to that. It's looking pretty good, I think. And then we'll get our little people on. So we'll just go around. Around the edges here. And then give it a little squish in the middle. And spread out those lumpy bits a wee bit. Right. Picked black thread because there's a black edge that's been quite useful in the book. On the actual book, there's a black edge that you can see, like, which is already there. Right, I think that's us. And the envelope will just slide in there quite nicely. And that's nice and sturdy at the edges. Okay, let's get our little people on. Now, do we want them standing on something, or are we happy that they're just floating on this? I've got the washi tape that I used down the seam there. Let's try a little bit, just to see. It will always come back off if we don't like it. And we'll maybe just tear it down the middle like that. Let's just put that bit down instead of putting a finger out of action. Right, so she would be standing maybe about there. I'm not sure. Let's try another bit. Do you know what? I could go with it and I could not go with it. Oh, excuse me. I think we'll leave it. It does add a little bit of interest as well as giving them something to stand on. Yeah, I think we'll leave it. Got a wee spare bit there. Might use that in the envelope. Okay. Oh. Yeah, that's so pretty. Right, now we need to make our envelope. So I have this for the envelope. Just put that aside just now. And this. So I want it to be big enough for this to be on the front. Right, about there I think. And this will still, let's check. Yes, that'll still go in there because that's still to be folded over, that front bit, that top bit. So we've got that, and then we'll fold this over like that. I don't know why it's got a little bit of green there, but we won't worry too much about that. Don't know what that is. Right, and that's going to be our envelope to keep our bits in. And I want a nice piece of white, and that will go there. Yeah, that's okay. We chop off a wee bit of her head. Well, we don't chop it off, but it will be hidden. But that's okay, because you'll see it when you open the envelope. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So we need a piece cut. Just grab a pencil. And we want it to be the length of the envelope. And probably a chunk of just enough to create a border. And we'll just take that amount, put that over there, and where's our little pencil mark? It's there. Okay, so we have a piece of card that we can punch and then trim to size. There. Okay, so our punch, whoops, we open it up and find the middle spot. I always start in the middle when I punch rather than the end, because then you end up, if you start in the middle, you end up with an even pattern on at either end. If you had to start there, you might get like a half of a bit and then a whole bit, and it might be uneven. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's what I like to do, and that's what I've always done, is start in the middle. So we start in the middle. I've lined them up so that they're matching at both ends, and we give it a good hard punch, and that punches out that, and then you can see that there's a silver pattern on the base there. So we're going to line up the silver pattern on top of there, and that lets us know that we're at the right place for punching the next one along. And then we go the other direction, line it up with the silver pattern. You might still be able to get these actually on eBay, these punches. Here we are. And then you have all your little bits. Which promptly go in the bin. And so you can see that it's ended up the same at either end. Sometimes you get this little odd bit, and all I do is trim that kind of to match the pattern. so that you've got a little archway at either end. And then what we're going to do is pop that underneath here, and that gives us a nice little border on the envelope. That's sweet, isn't it? And then that matches that, and that will slide through and be held in place. Oh yeah, it's what I had in my head. Sometimes what you have in your head. And I was going to trim this white bit down so that it was just like a narrow border. That's why I didn't really bother measuring that. But see, now that I see that there like that, I think actually I'll just stick the whole bit down. And then we're just going to stitch all the way around here and round here. Yeah, so we can stick this down. Of course, you don't want to stick down the edge there that's going to be coming through. Well, you don't want to put glue on that bit. So that's us lined up. I've got glue in the back of that, but not to worry. That'll just rub off. I might actually put a little bit of washi along there. Might be quite nice just to finish that off rather than have a line. Not that you especially see it, but just give that a wee snip there and a little snip there. There we are. Good. Right, now should we go to the sewing machine before we stick on that? I think we will, because we don't want to stitch through our wings, that's for sure. Yeah, so I'm going to go to the sewing machine and stitch round there and stitch round there. I shall be back. That's the sewing done, and it looks pretty good, I think. If you don't have a sewing machine, obviously you would need to use a little bit stronger glue than the Pritt stick or a glue stick, and yeah, makes it nice and sturdy. If you don't have it, then you can use a fine liner pen if you fancy a little border. A fine liner pen will do the trick. And let's get our little piece stuck on here. Yeah, okay. She's a cute one, isn't she? She's very cute. get her down a little bit. I've moved her down a little bit because it was like half a bee. You either have to want the whole bee or no bee, so to be or not to be. That's cute. Right, I think we're nearly there today. Let's think a finishing touch would be some words. So I've got, and let's just put our little bits that we've got in the envelope. Yeah, that's cute, isn't it? And that's really handy in the back of the book to keep our little bits in. Oh, yes. Right, now, do you want... I had picked out a few words. I've got this, which is clipping sticker book, but these are the original ones which came just kind of loose, and I've got just short ones. I had picked out beautiful, and there's peace, happiness and love, and there's dreams come true. So I think maybe we'll have beautiful. I think maybe we'll have beautiful just here. Down there. And where was the other one? Dreams come true. I think we'll put dreams come true on the envelope, because our dream came true when she bought our little cottage. I might need to use a little bit of glue on these. Let's see. I just want some short. There's true friend. That's nice. We'll put this one on this side. And one left for this little girl here. Now, where was that piece? Peace, happiness and love. Is that going to be too long? I think that's too long. There's beauty and grace. And I think we'll have that there. Okay, I think that is us. What do you think? Maybe we need something here. See, this is going to need a little bit of glue. Whoops. Some of them aren't so sticky. Of course, it doesn't help that I've had them for a wee while. They seem to be all right. I wonder if we want something there. I wonder if we want a little butterfly or something in the book. I wonder if we've got a tiny butterfly that would just sit there. I know that there's some butterflies that have just got one wing, you know, it's just like a side view. I know there's a cage of butterflies. Here we are. This one. I'll give that a go. Might be a little bit too big. I am not going to cut his legs. And I will not cut his little feelers, that's for sure. If you are fussed about that, you can draw them in, but that won't be the plan today. Right, got my little bits there. Right, let's see if this... Yeah, that's actually quite nice. Oh, do you know, I'm not sure actually. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it for another day. Put it in the envelope. Wonder. Nope. Nope, maybe I should just be happy that it's just nice and plain and it's got its little trim. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's a bit silly. Right, so that's me. I enjoyed that. That was good fun. So thanks for joining me today. If you've enjoyed the video, a thumbs up would be great, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.